officer for Academic City University College and a former high school teacher. Ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good.
you.
In the next section, I'll have the opportunity to introduce our well-resourced panelists who have taken time to be part of this section. And we are going to be speaking on the topic supporting the emotional well-being of students and ensuring safety in our senior high school amid COVID-19, the role of heads of schools and school counselors. To do this discussion, we have Mr. Frank Ellison, Principal of Datus International School and a CEO of Ellison Educational Consult, Ghana. We have Ms. Hannah Haddon, Principal of Gambia Methodist Academy, who has several years of teaching experience. We have Dr. Christian Marvel, who is a clinical psychologist, Head of Guidance and Counseling at Ghana International School. We have Leonard Latte, Career and College Counselor for Ghana International School. We also have Macleana Quay, teacher and a school counselor for Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, Ghana. We have Ms. Constance Quay. She's a guidance and counselor for Tema International School. Ladies and gentlemen, you are very welcome once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Hello, Matthew.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, the name is Allison.
Allison, okay, forgive me.
Not Ellison, Allison.
Okay, Allison, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So we will take it, I'll take
That's
this
okay.
all over again. So let's start now, yeah, sure. All right, so let's move. So we all know that COVID-19 is a global pandemic, according to the WHO. Little is known about this virus, but the good news is that we know the mode of spread and what we have to do to further mitigate the spread of coronavirus among ourselves, in our communities or wherever we find ourselves. Now, with the recent data on, Ghana Health Service recording cases of COVID-19 in our schools, it becomes imperative for educators and counselors to come together in order to put out there what we can do or what we're already doing to ensure safety within our schools, and also allay the fears of parents who have some levels of anxieties, and also put some preparation together for our students who are going into or writing their exit exams. So my first question for this discussion, please, I have done this in a very strategic way, just to make sure everybody get the opportunity to speak on the issues. So with the first question is going to be taken by our able Mr. Frank, who is the principal of Datus International School, and Hannah Hayden, the principal of Gambia Methodist Academy. COVID-19 has become or has given a new trend, which we term is the new normal. Economies of countries have started opening up. Schools around the world are using phased approach to gradually open up schools, just to allow students who have to get the opportunity to write their exit exam in order to progress to higher learning. Now, my question is, what are you doing differently to ensure? What are you doing differently to ensure safety in our senior secondary schools? How are you managing the anxieties of school students, staff, given the fact that some students are already recording positive cases of COVID-19? And how COVID-19 in any way affected student activities in terms of interactions within the school's environment, which is key in our pedagogy for students to come together to prepare going into their exam. So, Mr. Frank, please, can you take the first bite of this part of the question so that we can move on? Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, Matthew. And good afternoon to my fellow panelists. As you introduced me, my name is Frank, and I'm the principal of Datus International College, located in Community 7, Tema. I hope you can hear me. Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, okay. Now, this program, like we said earlier on, is to educate and actually disseminate information to the outside world. So I would like to come up with a little bit of facts about this COVID-19 before proceeding to the substantive question. COVID-19 is a disease caused by a new strain of coronavirus. And CO stands for corona, VI for virus, and D for disease. I'm doing this for the purpose of our students listening to us. Formerly, this disease was referred to as 2019 Nouvelle coronavirus or 2019 nCoV. The COVID-19 virus is a new virus linked to the same family of viruses as severe acute respiratory syndrome, shortly as SARS, and some types of common cold. Thank you. Now, for we as heads, school administrators, teachers, and staff, we have clear and actionable guidance of safe operations through the prevention, early detection, and control of COVID-19. Why am I saying so? Now, we need to follow certain basic principles as school administrators or school heads to manage the pandemic. And in my school, I can boast of us doing something highly unique, which I would like to share with the outside world. Now, what we are doing specifically is to ensure safe school operations, whereby we update or develop school emergency and contingency plans. We also work with officials to guarantee schools are not used as shelters, treatment units, etc. We also consider and cancel community events or meetings that usually take place on school premises based on risk. It's one of the things we do. Now, we also reinforce frequent hand washing and sanitation, and procure needed supplies for students. We prepare and if possible, place alcoholic-based hand rub sanitizers in each classroom at entrances and exits and near lunchrooms and toilets or washrooms.
But I can't see him.
Can you see me?
No, I can't.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, Frank, we are with you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, it seems my video, okay.
Please,
all right.
Frank,
Thank
you
you
have 3 minutes to wrap up on this so that you go to the substantive.
All right, okay, all right. Thank you. Now, I think I made mention of two things that we do uniquely in my school. We also establish procedures if students or staff become unwell. We also promote information sharing. We adopt school policies where appropriate. What do I mean by this? We develop flexible attendance and seek leave policies that encourage students and staff to stay at home. We do also monitor school attendance and also plan community learning. Is one of the things we do. Now, we strictly adhere to, how do you call it? We adhere to the WHO policies on social distancing, wearing of face masks, hand washing, and running water for at least 20 seconds. We do that. And also, we try to use as much as possible the school psychologist to psych our students to live up to expectations as far as the learning environment is concerned. Yeah, that is what we are doing, uniquely as a school. Matthew?
Thank you, Frank, on this. Hannah, please, can you take the same bite on this very, pertinent questions? That needs a lot, response. Hello, Hannah, are you with me? Okay, then let's move on to, please, can anybody comment on these questions quickly?
Matthew.
Frank.
Matthew.
Yes, Frank.
This is just by way of checklist for our school. What we do is that we also clean and disinfect school buildings, classrooms, and especially water and sanitation facilities at least once a day, particularly surfaces that are touched by many people, railings, lunch tables, sports equipment, door, window handles, toys, etc. And we try to increase as much as possible the airflow and ventilation where climate allows windows, or we try to increase.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank, on this. Yeah, thank you, Frank. Hannah, please, can you take the next bite? If Hannah is so, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, please.
Okay. It's raining here, so the network is not too good. Yes, the Gambia's situation is rather unique in the sense that it's only now, let me say this week, yes, that we started having a lot of cases. Now, prior to this, the COVID cases were very minimal. As such, the children, as well as the public in general, didn't really take COVID seriously. So when school reopened and the seniors start coming in, we had to do a lot of awareness and sensitization to actually get them to know that COVID is real and it is in the Gambia and they have to follow all the rules. Right? But with the help of the government, all the basic things were supplied to the schools. We have our washing and stations, right? We have sanitizers for them. We also have thermometers. We take their temperature before they go in. But our concern, my basic push has been to create an awareness of how seriousness it is and the fact that it is the statistics, right, in the Gambia are rising. Particularly last week, this week in particular, we have a lot of cases. So we want them to be aware, and we are stressing, right, what are the things they should do to make sure that they stay safe.
Okay, Hannah, hello,
yes.
Hannah, has COVID-19 affected
Yes.
the way students go about their things, their normal routine in any way?
Well, in a way, yes, because they come to school. It's only half of them, only the seniors that do come to school. And then we've had to divide their classes, right? Not more than 20 students in a class, right? And so their interaction is rather limited. And we are also encouraging that they try to keep the physical distances. So there's not that running and playing and jumping around. There's no sporting activities on campus anymore.
Okay, thank you very much on that. Please, can anybody who wants to have a bite on this, just go ahead. We have just 1 minute to do that, please.
Okay, I'd like to say a little something. Hello, everybody. My name is Keisha Hugh Aban, and I'm a school counselor in Tianjin, China. A lot of the things that were mentioned from the previous, the few people who spoke before me, we're doing those very same things. We're doing the temperature checks twice a day, before you come on campus and during lunchtime. If it is found that you have a fever, you have to go to the nurse's station and she checks you again. If your temperature is above a certain amount, then you do need to go to the emergency room where they transport you to the hospital. Now for the social emotional part for the students, as we can imagine, no sporting events, no graduation, the activities of them playing has all ceased. And so we have a homeroom system where teachers each have a certain amount of students per grade. And so they are able to check in with those students. And if there are any students who are having any issues where it might be anxiety related, depression related, they are automatically referred to me, and I will go and either retrieve them from classrooms or send for them to come to my office just to check things out. In addition to that, I do have a checklist, which is created with a Google form, just asking the students each week, how are they doing? Because again, when we started the school year, it was a very normal school year. And now after this point, where you have to sit in the cafeteria, it's one child per table. And so when you go in, it's a big thing. Another thing that we did, like was mentioned, when we started back in April, I believe, we only started with grade 9. Our grade 12 students, we're an IB school, so because the IB examinations were canceled, they were allowed to graduate early. So we started with grade 9, and as the Chinese government allowed us to have, they gave us a whole bunch of rules and regulations of things we needed in place before we could allow others to come back. Once those needs were met, we were able to bring back grade 6 to 11. The elementary school did not come back.
Okay, thank you very much on this. Please, can we have another panelist to comment on this in the next 1 minute so that we can move to the next set of discussions?
Hi, I'm Maikelina Kwe, the school counselor of Presbyterian Boys Secondary. Differently, is in creating awareness. We have used a PA system to announce the COVID-19 protocols to the students about 4 times in a day. So when the siren goes, for them to wake up, then the announcements for the COVID-19 protocols, washing their hands, keeping their social distance, wearing their face masks, and aware. You know this, adolescents, and education helps them. We are also using this same one because we have a number of students. We are about 1,700 on campus now. We use the same PA system in admonishing them and letting them know other things that will help them to adhere to the protocols, and also updating them on the data. And this is really, really helping them because in their classrooms, in their smaller groups, they get to know, get informations on COVID-19 and other things that will keep the academic work going. Thank you.
That's a very good point from all the panelists who have had the opportunity to speak on this. We can't take the psychological and emotional impact of COVID-19 for granted. And as a matter of fact, students in our various secondary schools are experiencing some levels of anxiety going into their exam preparations. So I want Dr. Christine and Marklina to comment on this question for me. How are student emotional and psychological welfare being supported in terms of preparation towards their exams? Or what do you think can be done to psych them up in going into these exams?
Thank you, Matthew. May I go first?
Yes,
okay, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So, because of the exams, we all agree that they are stretched up. So, the first thing we do in helping them is teaching the students specific examination techniques. And this can be done through taking them through their past questions. This thing helps them to get clear description of the examination. They get to know the number of questions they have to answer, some basic materials they will need. It also helps them to understand different types of questions. They will also be stress-free when they are put under time pressure. With the past questions, you time them as if they are writing their normal examination. So these help them to realize that this is the same thing we are going to face. Now, when we come, this is going to help them to increase their sense of agency and also their competence. They will also have negative thoughts. Will I succeed? So that one, we have to have negative thoughts that they are having. They also have to share it, and then we also challenge them that these negative thoughts has to be turned into positive thinking. And we do this by using the cognitive behavioral theory. And these help them to focus on positive things that they have done in preparing. You want to write the exams, you have been learning, you have been preparing. It is a positive thing. This is going to help you to pass. So these things help them to get a little stressed down. And we also help them to learn certain supportive things when they are stressed, that they will be able to manage it before, during, and even after the exams. For example, thinking about themselves is one. So when you feel stressed, it's better to think about a peaceful and a happy moment.
Thank you, Marklina, for that very good point.
You realize that if you engage, thank you.
Can we have Doug to do same for us, please?
Sure, those were very good points. Thank you, Marklina. Have to take advantage of the resources they already have, especially when it comes to things like counseling, psychology, anxiety. So one piece of advice I have is to find the teachers, right, and the staff members that already have clout, that have a tendency towards counseling, and use them as well in addition to the counselor. So things like homeroom, someone mentioned homeroom. In the beginning, the first 10 minutes of the day, make it a space where students can talk about how they're feeling, talk about their anxiety, what they're nervous about, and then just sharing their anxieties, that helps to calm them down. Education about what anxiety is, right, is really important. Research shows us that a little bit of anxiety is actually good for success, for motivation. So the fact that they're nervous isn't necessarily bad. They can find a way to channel that energy into doing their best and excelling despite the difficult circumstances. So talking to them about anxiety, what it might feel like. Sometimes they'll have headaches, sometimes they'll have tummy aches, but it's all the body's way of saying, I'm really nervous and I want things to be better. They should talk about it and have the support groups. And then of course, if the school has a counselor or psychologist, have a conversation with the teachers so that they know when to refer a student. And they know when, okay, this one is more than us just talking. This person really needs to sit down with the counselor and sort things out. And then finally, focusing on their goals, right? The thing that pushes us is being able to look at the end, the finish line, and say, I'm working towards something. So despite the anxiety, despite the uncertainty, these are my goals, my specific, my measurable, my time limited goals for this term. And that's what I'm going to work towards, no matter what I'm going through. So those are some of the things I would advise institutions to do.
Thank you, Doc, for that very good and insightful bite on this part of the discussion. I hope students who are following on Facebook and other social media platforms, you are learning something from the discussion. Please do leave your comments in the Q&A section. If you have any questions, I will read them, direct them to my able panelists for them to respond to the questions. Please, can any of us panelists here comment on this aspect of the discussion so that we bring it to a close and move on to the next set of questions that we have?
Matthew.
I'll say.
Oh, Matthew, I had my hand up for, I don't know if you.
Okay, Leonard, please.
Thank you, Matthew. Just to add a little to what Dr. Pierce said, I'm speaking on behalf of Ghana International School. She mentioned some of the resources that Ghana International School has provided for students. One of the aspects we use is what we call pastoral care, where whatever the kids tend to be feeling, we bring up topics. We bring up topics for them and discuss them amongst the kids. But we also make provision for the kids to bring up certain aspects of how they're feeling, during these unconventional times, if you would. And it's just having that open mind, that mindset of listening and letting it all on the table, and not forcing certain ideologies on them, but then, advising, and asking, letting the kids take it in good stride. Pastoral care, it's been working for us quite well, just because it's a platform. It gives the students leverage to, at that point they can just come out with whatever they're feeling and not be judged, because it's usually a safe space for them to air out how they are feeling. So yeah, that's a little, I just wanted to add on to that, that aspect of some of the strategies we in place.
Leonard, thank you very much for that. Please, those who are joining us, we are having a discussion on how to ensure safety in our senior high schools and how to also manage the anxieties of final year students going into their final exams. So please, if you are just joining us, if you have any comments, please leave it in the Q&A section. I'll read it directly to our panelists for them to comment on it. Thank you.
Hello, Matthew.
Yeah, hello. With the next set of questions, hello. Frank, would you want to add up to this?
Hello, Matthew.
Hello, Frank, can you hear me?
It's just a very quick, yeah, I can hear you. It's just a very, I just want to set a certain record straight. In my school, that is Datus International College, we are a Cambridge school. So prior to the May-June exams, Cambridge canceled our exams. So what is going on now, apart from the Cambridge department, we also have the SHS. So looking at the SHS vis-a-vis the fear, the anxiety being experienced just like any other adults, I can for sure tell you that some of them, when you interview them, you realize that they tell you, they think that when you get coronavirus, it's a death warrant. So by talking to them, by trying to share in their problems, by also trying to cite them, even minus the coronavirus, let us look at the normal times when children are going for exams. There's that level of anxiety. Like Doc said earlier on, anxiety has been established by researchers that in a way, it helps to actually improve the performance of students. So at the SHS here, all these things go on, and we try to talk to them. The counseling unit speaks to them. We have measures in place just to share and show to them that they are not in this alone. So based on this, you realize that a certain level of level-headedness has been established among the student youth. That is what I want to add to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frank, for this very wonderful addition. Please, let's move to the next set of questions. Please, if you are just joining us, I want you to leave your comments in the Q&A section. You'll have time for that. Yes, and we are broadcasting live on ACity University College website right now, Ghana. Okay, so with this set of questions, it's going to specifically Keisha. Keisha, please, we all agree COVID-19 will stay with us for a very long time, or even in the near future. Do you think COVID-19 impact, in a way, is going to change the pedagogies or how teaching and learning is conducted in our schools?
Okay, so my thoughts on that particular question is everything is going to change. Nothing will ever remain the same as it was in education or anything else. This pandemic has shown the entire world, nations that we even thought would have responded to the crisis in a efficient and better way, they were exposed to some of the things that, what other people are going through. They were not prepared. And so as a result, we're going to have to make sure that our teacher education programs, our school counseling programs are going to be revamped. Some of the things that I see in the future that is going to occur, there's going to be an increase of blended learning as far as traditional face-to-face teaching and teaching online. I don't know about a lot of the teachers in Ghana, but I know teachers that I know from the US and even here in China, transitioning to online learning was very difficult. There were a lot of people who felt that if a student is in the classroom for however many periods a day throughout the time, that the same thing needed to translate over to online.
I am on TV talking.
And that wasn't the case. So blended learning is going to increase. Another thing is that online education is going to be a priority for every school, every institution. And even with that, there's going to be a demand for instructional designers. Before, I know there's a lot of school systems, ministries who may take for their core information to get it from different outside nations. Now it's going to force people to have to look in-house. when you look in-house, if something like this should happen again, you won't have to worry about a system not being in place. You are the system. And so I think with that, with the education programs, doing all of these things, the teacher counseling programs, preparing them to now know this is what we got to do. This is where education is going. So I think everything has changed. Nothing is going to be the same.
That's a very good one from Keisha. Please, can any of our panelists comment on this aspect of it, since we are all educators and we are in this industry together?
Okay, hello everyone. This is Constance Quay from Tema International School. To add to what Keisha has said, I think that the new normal has also given us the opportunity to explore online learning tools. So at this point, it is critical for teachers and for counselors to, try to subscribe to online learning channels so that you can learn how to, use the tools, especially for Zoom and other ones like Skype, so that at the end of the day we can do better, and then we can also assist our students accordingly. Yeah, because sometimes with internet interruptions is beyond your control. So aside the presentations, aside the notes and all that, you can also go the extra mile and do the one-on-one conversation via telephone, so that if there's any lapse in the lesson or whatever, you can assist the students accordingly, because at the end of the day, the student's success is paramount. Thank you.
Thank you, Constance, for that very powerful point. Please, how do we get, with international schools, it's pretty easy for us to do this. What happens to our, secondary schools? The traditional ones before the international schools came in. How do we get them along? How do we fit in terms of the resources that they need in order to get these new approaches to learning? Because as you said, it's going to change. So how prepared are we in terms of that side? Yeah, to accelerate learning for students.
Okay. All right. Looking at the traditional system, or looking at the government system of educational support, I think the government of Ghana has brought a very brilliant initiative where students can watch lessons on TV. So I think that alone can also help. And also as teachers, it's not about what the government or what the private sector is able to support you, but what can you also do to add value to yourself? So it means that we also have to go to the extra mile to find how best we can support ourselves, so that at the end of the day, we can also support our students. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Constance. Doc, please, I saw your hand up. Can you comment briefly?
Yes, I just wanted to add to that GIS is actually working with 2 NGOs that their focus is on education and helping during this difficult time. So one is Learning Solutions. It's an NGO run by Adrose, and they support education in like the Kotobabi cluster schools. So what they're helping the schools do is our students are putting together PowerPoint slides along with the teachers, looking at the JHS syllabus. And then they are using that and sending that to the teachers, and the teachers are finding ways to share that with their students. The other NGO is a British NGO, Tools for Teaching. They've also worked in Ghana for a number of years with about 150 primary JHS schools in Kokrobite, but we're also working with them. So at least these 2 NGOs I know of that are available and working with some of the less resource schools by partnering with some of the more resource schools to get them the tools they need.
Can I just offer something too, just really quickly? One of the things that this pandemic brought about was that, to me, that was beautiful, was the spirit of sharing. If you go on social media, Facebook, there are so many education groups that were specifically created for this online pandemic where people are sharing everything. There are people on Instagram sharing stuff. And if you're a counselor and you belong to the International School Counselors Association, they are giving out tons of free things. How to do certain applications and anything that you're looking for. Because again, we're all in uncharted territory. Some of us have some technical skills with the technology and some don't. So there are tons of things that are available. And Matthew, I sent you a list of those things that you can share with other people, a whole bunch of links. So you have them.
Okay. Yes, I mean, we will make it available for our, participants to benefit from that outfit. Okay, please, if you are just joining us, this is Academic City University College, Ghana. We are having a webinar section for our heads of schools and counselors. We are trying to put together this to ensure that we have safety in our senior secondary schools so that parents will reduce their levels of anxieties, particularly those who have their kids in school ready for their final year exams. My next set of questions is going to be done by Leonard and Constance. Please, what do you advise? What if you have the opportunity to advise parents and prospective students in terms of what to look out for in terms of tertiary education? How do you advise parents to look for within this COVID-19 pandemic, and which avenues can they get the support that they need in order to make the very good decision in going forward with their tertiary education? Okay. So either of you can take it first.
Okay.
Constance, please. Okay.
Oh, actually, oh.
Hello?
Ladies first, I guess.
Lena, should I go first or?
Yes, Constance. Miss Constance, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So inarguably, COVID-19 has brought a paradigm shift in life's events. However, it's also very critical that students are supported at this level. So first and foremost, I think what's very important is that with most of the schools, most of the tertiary institutions, they are, number one, they are also going online. So students can also look up to that for online support in terms of teaching, especially for schools that is not located in their home country. So if you're looking at studying in China or the US or Canada, then it means that you can also, have the opportunity, but do that online. That's number one. And number two, looking at the fact that there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of, in terms of monetary matters, it is also good to consider a school that is going to give you a good scholarship package, because with the college application process, what is called the anatomy of the college application process, the academics come first, and then you look at the child's extracurricular activities. At this point, you can do any extracurricular activities, or you can do online learning. You can do, there's music, there's dance, there's cooking, there's teaching algebra and all that. So the students can also subscribe to that. And then leadership. Universities are always looking for students who are proactive, who are open-minded, just like the IB learner profile. So it's also good to consider that. And then grit. So students who are able to persevere amidst the situation or amidst the challenges and the hula balloons of life, especially with this new normal, is very important. And then that positive attitude. So Martin Luther King said that intelligence plus character, that's the true definition of quality education. Therefore, universities are not just looking for students who are academically inclined, but also have that balance in terms of academic work and social skills. So it is very, very important to also consider that. So schools are willing to give scholarships. So it is very, very imperative that if you go online and you're looking for a particular school or university of your choice, ask yourself, what is the financial package like? For schools in the US, they are more generous. So we have the need-blind schools, they meet 100% of your need. We have the need-aware school, they meet your needs based on how much you can afford. Then we also have the merit-based schools. So if a school is looking at students who are academically inclined in terms of sports, you're also on point. So it's also good to consider all these factors so that you'll be able to, get the opportunity to go to that school. And aside that, is the school willing to give you support in terms of talent? Because we also have students who are not just brilliant, but they are also talented when it comes to sports, when it comes to any other extracurricular activity. So all this put together is a holistic application process, and then the students can look at that and select a school of their choice, looking critically at what we're going through as a nation or as a country.
Good. That's a very good point from Constance. But I think it's also very important for us to pay attention within in-house, that is within our country, schools that have the same resources out there so that students don't have to get themselves exposed to this COVID-19 and all the issues that comes with it. So Leonard, please, can you do the next bite quickly so that we wrap it here?
Thanks, Matthew. Yes. So I'll tackle this in two ways. Like you said, let's look in-house. Let's look within our own shores. For parents, what I would advise is look out for your wards. Look out for schools that tend to have, as Keisha mentioned, this is where most of our tertiary institutions will be going, blended learning, where I know in some stages, freshmen, or I guess level 100 up to level 200, sophomores, won't be on campus physically for the first two semesters of their university career. And this is just something the school, like most schools, are implementing, amidst this COVID pandemic to ensure safety for the students, that thereby reducing the number of people we have on campus. It's the same if you're looking outside of Ghana. We'll use the United States as an example. Same thing. They are also adopting the blended learning aspect. Most of their juniors and seniors will be on campus, but in order to ensure safety for everybody else, not just students but teaching staff as well, freshmen and sophomores are currently at home. I would also advise that look out for schools that are willing to provide some higher level, so in other words, some college level classes free whilst your wards are at home. Maybe during this period, maybe during this summer period, as they're getting ready to get into university. And the interwebs are our best resource. It's a matter of going online, or even just going onto the school's website and digging out, fishing for that information. There was something. What else can I add?
Very good one from Leonard.
I believe, yes, Matthew. So basically that's it, and Ms. Constance also alluded to this. You need to look for, and to parents, please, you need to look for schools that provide support for the students, not, Ms. Constance said something about talent, which is, yes, absolutely. But obviously we're going through some tough times right now. So you need to find schools that have that support for students going through these mental breakdowns regarding what their next move is going to be or how their future is looking because of this pandemic.
Thank you very much, Leonard, for such important and very insightful point there. But I want to do a very simple thing. AcademyCity got you sorted on this. We have all it takes to get you the education that you need. You have to travel all over to the US and all that. Come to AcademyCity and you get this thing done for you. We have payment plan option for parents. We have discount options and all that. So if you are watching, please, I would want you to go to AcademyCity website and inquire, get all the information you need to make that informed decision. This is not a PR job, but I'm telling you the fact. Let's move on to our Q&A section. Please, Doctor.
Matthew.
Yes,
Matthew.
Frank.
Just a very quick point to buttress the earlier ones mentioned. Quite apart from looking at the scholarship aspects and other related social facilities that will benefit the child, for me as a head, I will always advise my parents in this pandemic era when trying to select a school to look out for this cardinal points. One, they should look for schools that embrace virtual learning platforms access their platform. For instance, let me just take my school. I'm not saying my school is a tertiary one, but I know this is done in another school. That is International College, where we have a program, we have a software, a program in place prior to the lockdown. We have been doing the virtual learning with a managed back, and we use that a lot. So I would advise that parents should look out for schools that have the virtual learning platform. Also hold virtual office hours for students and shorten assignments, and equally try to be innovative. We've realized that long period on the screens actually get students tired in this time round. So probably 15 to 30 minutes on the screen for virtual platforms are enough. It's enough for students to, get to the next level. Last but not least, also they can equally add a year to their tenure clock, looking at the rate at which, looking at the time frame that this disease is going to live with us. A lot of schools are going to be behind in terms of academic work. So I would advise that they should look out for schools or tertiary schools that will add at least a year of tenure to their curriculum clocks. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank, for that very good cardinal point raised for parents to look out for. Please, those who just joined us from Facebook Live, we are discussing supporting the emotional and well-being of students and ensuring safety in our senior high school amid COVID-19, the role of heads of schools and counselors. And this is live on Academic City, Ghana, Academic City University College, Ghana. Hello, let's go to Facebook. I have some questions for you. Monarch is saying, how do we deal with stigma, that is students who have recovered from COVID-19? How do you deal with stigma in our schools of students who have recovered from COVID-19?
Well,
okay, hello?
Hello.
Okay.
Doc, can you take that for me, Doc?
Sure, I'll start. It sounds like some people also want to contribute. I think with stigma, the easiest way to eradicate it is the open conversations. It needs to be out in the open. We need to talk about it. You know, we all get sick. We get malaria, we get colds. People get sick. Some people will get the virus and they will recover. It's just another illness. If we're able to talk about it more and more and more, and if the people who have experienced it are brave enough to actually talk about it, it will help. I remember I was so impressed when Dr. Tamaklo, the director of NYAHO, he came out and said that he had the virus, and then he let us know that when he recovered. It's just another illness. We need to talk about it. For the schools, you can use your school system. Again, if you have teachers that have clout, you can have those small group conversations about it. Okay, what are you worried about? What's the stigma exactly? We'll catch it. What do we know about this virus? We have our safety measures. Let's talk about the safety measures that are tried and true. Wash your hand, keep the distance as much as possible. If we keep educating the students, talking about it, eventually, out of pure exposure to hear it over again, the stigma will reduce.
Thank you, Doc, for that. Please, Keisha, can you add up to what Doc have just said in terms of stigma, dealing with stigma in our schools?
I think her answer was spot on. Again, it's education. The more we talk about it, and I mean, this is something that it's not in the beginning, like when AIDS first came out, we didn't know a lot about it. Now we know how to protect ourselves against it. And so COVID is no different. The more we talk about it, the more we educate. We educate our students, we educate our staff, we educate our parents. Community workshop, whatever happens within our school community, education is going to be the center around it. So once that happens, the stigma is no longer there. So I agree with Dr. Kristen 100%.
Okay, that's a very good one. Please, if you are joining us, you have the opportunity to add your comments or questions in the Q&A section so that we demystify all the funny ideas about COVID-19 and all that for you right on this platform. I have this question for.
Hello.
I have this question for Frank.
Hello.
I have. Someone is asking. Someone is asking, how are stakeholders, PTAs, government agencies supporting schools within this pandemic? How are they supporting? Have you received any?
Well, not yet, but we are still waiting. We are still waiting for them to come on board and help us as an institution. But hello, hello.
Yeah, I'm with you, Frank.
Okay. It's just before I proceed to that, it's just about stigmatization. I think it's really sickening because when you take a look out there, I don't think we should stigmatize. They should stigmatize their peers or tease anybody being sick, and that they should remember that the virus doesn't follow geographical boundaries, ethnicities, age, or ability or gender. That is what we need to imbibe in our children. Quite apart from that, we can use some of the professional players. When you take Chelsea Hudson-Odoi, also had COVID, but has really recovered and is playing football actively with their friends, and nothing is happening. You take a look at the coach of Arsenal. A lot of our students, they watch these leagues and they see these people. So we can equally use these people to tell them that, no, you see, you don't need to do a stigmatization or tease people who actually are infected, who had it and they've recovered and they are with their peers playing on a daily basis for us to see. That is what I would take about the stigmatization. But when it comes to NGOs, other professional bodies coming to help us as an institution, so far we've not had any yet. And I can use this medium to appeal to NGOs out there to come to our aid and then help us to actually move on and then keep our students on the right frame of mind, in the right frame of mind for their exams. That is all I would say. But so far, nothing has come on board. And it's the hard-working board and management of the school that is actually moving the school forward in the right direction.
Okay, thank you very much, Frank, on that. Please, we have to quickly move to the debriefing section of this program. So I'll invite our Director of Admissions.
Matthew, we have Mr. Yeboah. He has some question.
Okay, yeah, Mr. Yeboah.
Mr. Yeboah.
Yes, hello,
Mr. Yeboah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you also hear me?
Yeah, perfect. Please, you have the opportunity to ask your question now. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity. I'm a prospective parent to Academic City, so I decided to join. I have three quick comments or maybe in a form of question to make. My first one has to do with, you have already indicated in the course of the discussions that for freshers, it is quite obvious that they will not join the school session face-to-face for this academic year, which is, okay, we all know what is happening. But I want to also find out from the panel, because this is going to have some impact on them. You know, up to today, we know that they are very happy. They want to go to the college, they want to go to university. But here's the case, they'll get admission, but you tell them, oh, you're going to stay at home still. So there's that change management that has to be done. So I want to find out from the institution, the academic city, what will you do? Yes, we parents also will do ours, but I think the school has to do something to ensure that these freshers will still feel that they are part of the university or the college community. This is my first point. My second point also has to do with, in the course of the discussion, we have said that this pandemic is going to be with us and nobody knows when it's going to go away. Nobody knows. Now, in terms of academic programs that we are running up to today, do we supposed to make any critical changes? Because all of us know that careers are not going to be the same as we have them today. So the programs that we are having, the programs that the students have been going through, are universities and colleges going to come out with a new program that will bring out to the new reality, so that when these students come out, then there wouldn't be that challenge. This is my second point. And then finally, my third point has to do with the fact that I want to put it for the universities or the colleges to look beyond the elite class. You see, based on what is happening today, we have a lot of people in Ghana. If I want to talk about only Ghana, we have a lot of people who may not have access to all these facilities, all this information we are sharing. But I want academics to know that we have equally good students who are in those big time rural areas. When they get this opportunity, they will access these opportunities. So what will they do to make sure they reach this class? So thanks for the opportunity. These are my 3 comments or 3 questions I wanted to put forth. Thank you.
Okay, all the 3 questions are directed to Academic City University College. So I will ask my able Director of Admissions to respond to the questions.
Okay, good afternoon. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a little echo in my background, so if I sound a little weird, just excuse me. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone again. Thank you for joining us. Again, we are broadcasting from Academic City University College, where we are based in Hacho in Accra. The first thing I could say, first of all, Mr. Yeboah, I appreciate your questions. But the answer and how I want to respond is we need to be future ready, and future ready. It is something that Academic City prides their self off. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to make a change right here. Okay, can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you.
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, Mr. Yeboah, we at Academic City University College, we are bold enough to take the appropriate changes that we feel should be taken that will propel our students to a position of leadership and to be able to make these type of choices. So the first thing I'll say is, unlike some of the other institutions that have shared their strategy, our first year students will be on campus. What we have decided to do is to delay our start of school in order to prepare to receive them and to make sure that we have a facility that is I don't want to say COVID-19 ready, but let me say pandemic ready. Not should anything happen, we want to make sure that we are providing a safe environment for our students. So because of this, our executive management has made a decision that we will start school, but our first year students will be delayed until November 3rd. Our second year students will return to campus in a blended model. They will have a mixture of a blended schedule where they are on campus part of the time and they are off campus part of the time. Everybody that's on campus, all of our students this year will have some virtual learning because we want to ensure that should for the future, we need to go to virtual learning again, that all of our students are well prepared to continue their studies. I am proud to say that we were one of the few institutions in Ghana that when the onslaught of pandemic COVID-19, as it started developing, we made quick decisions to shut down our school, move our students back to the safety of their homes. And we were up in learning and rolling within 48 and 72 hours. All of our students had data and all of our students were, had little interruption in their studies. So I just want to put that out there that we at Academic City, we are always thinking about what may happen for the future because that is what we sell to our customers, that we are future ready. The second thing that I wanted to speak to, I believe you spoke about careers. That speaks to, we have over 14 programs, 3 programs that we are waiting for approval from NAB. That is a program in artificial intelligence, excuse me, artificial intelligence engineering, that is biomedical engineering, and that is robotics engineering. Some of you may have saw that during the shutdown and the lockdown here in Ghana, that our second year students were creating ventilators. So when we talk about careers, our programs speak to the fact that we know that the future is changing. And part of what we do is preparing our students, not for the careers for today, but the careers for the future. So it was easy for our students to transition into a solutions-oriented mode where our students are building the ventilators. They were in their homes. The government, our president came out to say we only have 67 ventilators in the entire country. And our students quickly began to see how can we use local materials to build a ventilator. So the third thing I want to speak to is, yes, you are correct. That we are in a situation that we can't just afford to marginalize the young people in our nation. I know one of the things that we do at Academic City is we, as part of our corporate social responsibility, we offer the Presidential Scholarship. This is a scholarship that brilliant students are selected based on their academic brilliance, their community support, their community service, and their leadership abilities, and we give them a full ride. By full ride, I mean that they can show up just with their bags and they will have housing, they will have 3 meals a day, they will have all the learning materials that they need, and they will have, and we provide certain things like medical insurance, transportation from their home if they live here in Ghana. So we also, as an institution, are equally impacted by the financial complications caused by this pandemic. So given that, whereas we were able to offer 9 of those scholarships in the years past, we have had to make some changes and we are only able to offer 5 of them. I am happy to send a shout out to Mrs. Michaelina Quay that we do have some students from PRESAFE that have been beneficiaries of our presidential scholarship. And God willing, we hope that that continues this year. So Mr. Yaboa, I hope that I have spoken to those 3 points that you asked, and I would invite any of our panelists if they would like to add to what I've already stated. But this is the critical importance of being future ready for times just like these that we're in, preparing our students to not only survive, but to take leadership roles. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Matthew, in case we have any other panelists that wish to add to.
Thank you very much, Shannon, for this very powerful point. Please, Mr. Frank, is your hand up?
Can I add something to what Maggie has said?
Good, Constance.
Okay. Mr. Opoku, be rest assured, AcademicCity is a university that we highly and strongly recommend, because Tema International School is proud to actually have that strategic partnership with AcademicCity. And here's why. When I had the opportunity and privilege to attend one of the seminars, and the head of department for engineering, Dr. Lucy Japan, she said that AcademicCity is future ready. And being future ready is that they are actually, giving our students the skills for life. So regardless of the program that you're offering now, the AcademicCity's educational curriculum is not necessarily focused on just business or just the sciences, but they also touch and harness on the soft skills of the students. So at the end of the day, these students are holistically developed and ready to adapt to the changing phase of life, because life in itself is very dynamic and it's evolving. So I highly recommend AcademicCity, and I know that students who are admitted to AcademicCity would have that value for education in terms of the investment that their parents are going to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Constance, for that very powerful point. Frank, okay, yes, Frank, go ahead. Frank, please, you're on mute. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Good. Can
you hear me? This is just to add to what Constance said. Datus International College, like we all know, we are strategic. Let me just stress on that, we're strategic partners of AcademicCity College, where we have last year and over the years, students who have completed the A-levels from the institution here have migrated to your university. And currently, as I talk to you now, some of them are in the engineering department, and I can lead to the good work that they are doing, the college is doing to help these students. So, parents out there who wish to enroll their children in college should not hesitate at all to go there, because we have living college here and are in your institution. That is what I want to say.
Thank you, Frank.
Matthew, can I come in again?
Okay, Shannon, you can.
First of all, I would like to thank all of our schools that we have here. I would like to thank Keisha from Pathways Consultants, LLC. I would like to thank our colleagues from over at GIS, Ghana International School, Mrs. Hannah from Gambia Methodist School, which I had an opportunity to visit her campus and speak with her final year students back in February, right before we actually were hit with COVID. I would also like to send a special shout out to Mrs. Quay from Persay, and of course, Tema International School. I'm saying that to acknowledge you all, because one of the things that we're in the process of doing, and this further speaks to Mr. Yeboah Opoku's point, is that we are creating a high school tutorial and supplemental program as we speak. We have a lot of considerations to make in terms of how we actually run this program, but we are trying to utilize our campus in the best way to help high school students in and around the greater Accra region that also need to possibly top up to be able to get into a high level tertiary, or to access a high level tertiary education. This is important because I'm recruiting some of the best teachers in and around Accra to be able to help us get this program off. So even though a student may or may not meet the entry requirements for Academic City University College, we can still help those high school students access higher education or tertiary education here in Ghana. So we are currently in the process of that. We realize a lot of our parents may also be struggling. They may feel as though some of their students are missing out on concepts. We recognize that it's not every student that's going to excel using virtual learning. So we are constantly trying to problem solve and be solution oriented in terms of how do we best support our young people here in Ghana. And you are correct, it's not just about those that can access premium education. All of our young people are in this together, and we are about developing the next generation of leaders in Ghana from wherever they may come from. So I just wanted to add that to reassure you that we are constantly, as I'm sure some of my colleagues are here, we are constantly troubleshooting how to make our academic, our curriculum, our education more accessible to those that may not be able to afford. So even if you can't come to Academic City, or you're not admitted, or you don't meet the entry requirements, or it could be a financial issue, we're still in a position to be able to support your educational journey. So I did want to speak to that, and I'll turn it back over to you, Matthew. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon, for that very insightful point. Marklina, I saw your hand up. Yeah, that's the last part of the discussion. So please, can you comment briefly so that?
Yeah.
Okay. Please go ahead.
So what I would like to add is the infrastructure of Academic City, and then the equipment in their engineering department. I will encourage all parents who are doubting Academic City to just visit and look at the infrastructure and look at the equipment. I'm 100% sure to challenge you that even our premium engineering equipment there. So please go all out, and then you will get the best for your words. Thank you.
Thank you, Thank you, Mrs. Quay. So there's a question on our chat that, Matthew, I wanted to squeeze in. It says, online or virtual learning has become a key option for educators during this global pandemic. How do we ensure quality of delivery for students, given the many problems that this option comes with? For an example, internet connectivity, difficulties, etc. So I will open this up to any one of our panelists, and let me repeat the question. Online or virtual learning has become a key option for educators during this global pandemic. How do we ensure quality of delivery for students, given the many problems that this option comes with? For an example, internet connectivity, difficulties, etc.
All right, I'd like to take that. With that issue, what we can do is that, number one, with the slides or the presentation, once we are done with the lesson, you can send it to the respective emails of the students, and then we can also record the lessons as well, so that they can actually replay it in case they missed any part during internet connectivity. They can just go and listen and then, you know, get the information. And then, like Dr. Siu said, the more you read, the more you know, and the more you know, the more places you go. So learning doesn't just end in the classroom. You have to extend it. I love what Mrs. Lucy Ejapon said, the head of department for engineering. She said at ACity is what they do is extensional learning. So learning beyond the classroom. So as students, we also encourage them that after the online learning or after the Zoom classes, please go back and do your research. Go back and add up to knowledge. And then you can also progress. Additionally, we can also look at studios online groups. So once you're done with your online lesson, you can also join in with maybe 3 or 2 friends who are very serious, so that you take the lesson, and then whatever you missed or whatever points you can give, you can also share. Lastly, with the presentations, once there are salient points that any student or the teacher can also add up to the stock of knowledge, this can also be disseminated. Like Keisha shared, in this world that we are in now is all about sharing. So we have to share the tons of unparalleled knowledge that we have with others, so that together online learning or Zoom learning can be very resourceful and helpful for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Constance. Thank you very much, Constance. Please.
Thank you.
Good. Please, with the next part of the discussion, please, I want all our panelists to be on video. We are going to have a screenshot of a picture for all of us, which will be used or which will be documented in the archives of Academic City University College. So please, I would advise that we all stay on so we finally leave or dissolve the whole discussion. But with me, Matthew Auku, as your moderator for this section, I've had Keisha from all the way in China joining us, Constance from Tema International School, Dr. Christine Mavo, who happens to be a clinical psychologist, and also Shannon Akusia Magi. I have Frank, who is also from Datus International School, Miss Hannah Hayden, who is also coming all the way from Gambia, joining us for this section. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very grateful for your time and all the contributions you have shared with us. We are hoping to have more of this discussion in order to help those out there to also learn from our platform. So thank you very much. Please, let's have the screenshot or of the picture. So please, all of us should come on video so that we can get this done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matthew, we are done.
For coming, and I'm very grateful. I'm hoping to having you on another platform for this very insightful discussion. Thank you so much, and I'm really grateful.
I would also like to say thank you to each and every one of my colleagues. Thank you for your time. Feel free to reach out for us. We are always available for partnerships, collaborations, and we realize that this is a tough time for all of us. It is requiring us to pivot and change wherever we are. And more importantly, I want to wish your students and your families the best of luck, especially on their final year exams. And we thank you, Mrs. Aban. Again, happy birthday. Thank you for joining us all the way from China. We look forward to extending this discussion. Again, many heads of schools have actually reached out to us after they saw us take the initiative. And we are also equally happy to join you and to collaborate if any of you also have ideas that you wish to share with your parents and your families. So thank you again, and we appreciate you. Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye to everyone.
Good.
Oh, we took the picture already?
Yeah, it's done.
That's okay. All right.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
get to
bye.
say cheese. Okay, bye-bye.
Hello.